So the
Okay.
Pat's let me go.
We are back. I'm back, and potentially we have Cracker.
Hello.
It looks like we have your audio coming through, Cracker, and hopefully my audio is not doubled up and echoing. It took me a long time to figure out what it was, and very recently there was an update to OBS version 29. Like, not that long ago, we went from 27 point something to 28, which was like a massive update. And then when I got home from Christmas, there was an update to version 29. So that was a weird major change. But obviously when you make a major update, a whole bunch of settings get reset. So I had to go back through and fix things. But what it turns out is my camera has a microphone, and I normally like turn that audio source off and then hide it so it's not in my list of stuff. So I couldn't see it, but it was actually turned on. So I had to like unhide everything and then turn off that camera microphone again. And then that fixed the problem.
Great.
But I was pulling the tiny little bit of hair out that I have trying to figure it out. So yeah, a weird one. Anyway, it sounds like people can hear you. So say hello to everyone.
Yeah, you sounded fine. I was listening in for a second. G'day, everybody. How you doing? Wait, let's do this.
No one's got any idea what you're doing, Cracker. We'll just
trying
do
to
this.
share my sub.
There we go. Cracker's on the subs.
Bang,
So
here we go.
the intention tonight was that you and I would both be on here, Cracker, with our lovely faces, and we would go through the mechanics and that sort of stuff. And then, like 5 minutes before we were due to go live, I messaged you in Discord. It's like, yeah, you ready to go? And you're like, yeah, my router just keeps resetting.
Yeah. There is a TPG outage in my area at the moment.
Oh, okay. So it's not.
Fortunately, it's not just me.
Right. Okay.
But my modem. You see, I was all ready, Shorty. I've got my Magic Beans mug. I've got a little bowl of snacks here. I was all ready to go to match your vibe of
Got the snack plate. Yep.
Yeah. I see it. I've got some Toblerone.
My cup is basically cold now because it's like I went live
an hour
40
ago.
minutes ago. Anyway, yep,
we got there.
So yeah, we will be going through the mechanics and stuff still, but yeah, you'll only see my face, which is not quite as good as seeing your face, Cracker.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
I'm hoping when we change screens that your audio doesn't cut out, so we'll see how that goes. But before we go anywhere, as announced on the podcast this week, we do still have a sponsor. Let's see if this button still works.
Right, let's go.
It does. There we go. Look, point right there. Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar. Do you want to tell us all about it, Cracker?
I'd love to. They are a Facebook auction page, and they have nightly auctions, and they have win it now listings for all of your magical card needs. Prices are excellent. Shipping is amazing. If you've ever heard us talk about anything before, you know how much we love these guys. And now is a great time to start watching out. As Shorty said on the cast, there will be just claim lots. So Pat will say, I've got 20 of the new Elish Norn in foil Phyrexian alt art. I don't know. There's like 70 versions of that card. But you can just say, I want 4 of them. And it'll be, whatever the price is. And you just claim 4 and that's it. Pat just decreases them until they're all gone. And then you get your card shipped out nice and early and you're ready to go. And if the prices drop like a week or so after, then, Pat will honour all those price changes and things like that. So good go, Pat. Go check them out. And when you win auctions, tell them the Bean sent you.
Or post a photo on Discord of Debakey Forceps at CanCon in Canberra. He's all super excited to go and see Pat and got himself a playmat. So very cool. All right,
Good
so
work.
It's already 9:30. It's time to get into some mechanics. So we'll
do it.
We'll jump straight into that. So let's see if my buttons work.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. There we go. We have Phyrexia all be one mechanics, and
nice.
We still have Cracker's audio. So
hey, good work. Well done.
I think that requires a which you probably can't hear.
Does the soundboard work?
Yep, soundboard works. Cool. All right, Phyrexia all be one mechanics. So we've been to a Phyrexia a couple of times. When was like mirrored and block and all that sort of stuff? That was Phyrexia.
Sure. Yep.
And then there was
New Phyrexia,
which I wasn't playing at that time. It was
No,
New Phyrexia
neither
and
was I.
Scars of Mirrodin.
That's the one.
Yep. And yeah, that was sort of in that gap where we'd stopped playing for a little while. So,
Yep.
and the original Phyrexia was, for me, like I was coming in on the tail end of that. Sort of, I came back, like I'd played years and years before, and then I sort of stopped playing, whatever, and then I came in when there was like Kamigawa and Ravnica was just being released, and I think the Mirrodin stuff was rotating out, so I was hearing all about the Mirrodin stuff and about how broken it was, Skull Clamp and all that sort of stuff, but I don't think I really played, or it might have been in for a little bit and then rotated out, so I haven't actually had a ton of experience with Phyrexia. And it sounds like you're probably in a similar boat to me.
I think I played a little bit earlier, and I certainly played like a bunch of. I have a bunch of like original Mirrodin block cards, so it's been cool to see like some of the stuff that, like Mephedros Vampire, and like there's like these cards that it brings back a bunch of memories of, which is really cool for me. And then you're seeing like Triskelion and some of those kind of things from that era as well. So yeah, no, I definitely have some memories of the original block, and this feels like it's doing a pretty good job to call back to some of those things. So yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and we've had the Praetors sort of popping up over the last few years, so we've sort of known that it was coming. And Paulson in the chat, we've had plenty of experience in Modern and Commander when we're playing against Paulson, because all he plays is Infect, which is from the original Mirrodin block, I believe.
Correct. Yep.
Oh, Cracker, you're doing two things at once in the chat and everything.
I know. It's amazing.
So
multitasking.
We will have a bit of a look.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
So yeah.
Toxic.
Mm-hmm. So Toxic is, and let me just grab it up on my screen as well. So Toxic is, it gives poison counters to people, and it will actually still deal regular damage as well. So poison counters are a thing I think we talked about in the past, but you can see this Paladin of Predation has got Toxic 6, which is pretty toxic, pretty gross. But you get 6 poison counters when you have. I think it's better than Infect, Hemsy, in some ways, because it deals combat damage too. It doesn't shrink creatures, but it deals both. So it gives poison counters and deals regular damage. So yeah, you will get 6 poison counters. When you get to 10, it is like getting to 0 life. You lose the game. That is it. So this thing is obviously 7 mana, but yeah.
Probably going to see some playing limited, and that's about it.
Limited bomb, yes. Yep. Would not expect to see any constructed play, but there's a bunch of really interesting stuff, and we talked about that on the cast with the new 1-drop. Whenever you target one of your creatures, you give poison counters to your opponents and or target player and things like that. So yeah. And again, we've seen things like this before. We've seen poisonous before, which is kind of a similar sort of thing. So it will always have a number next to toxic in the keyword, and that will nominate how much you get, how many poison counters you have. So pretty straightforward. This one, I don't think it's too hard to kind of wrap your head around.
No, like I said, like the key with this is that the creatures are still dealing combat damage. So whether that is to another creature or to the player, which is a big difference from the original
Infect,
that sort of thing, because that was dealing in -1/-1 counters and poison to players, which was a little bit confusing and just annoying to track, and sort of like it finished off like indestructible creatures and things like that, which was quite annoying. But the other thing that comes up quite regularly, like Paulson, who's in the chat there, is a prolific Infect player. Prolific? There we go. We'll get into that soon as well. Often you end up like your opponents, like if you're playing against Infect, you often go, they're playing Infect, I don't have to worry about my life total. So you're just fetching and shocking all the time, and you just you just don't care about your life total. And then you can very quickly just die to a noble hierarch that's been pumped up a bunch of times, and you just die to normal damage.
Just combat damage and exalted triggers.
Exactly, yeah. So the toxic creatures kind of are the best of both worlds. They're still dealing the combat damage to you, and you're getting the poison counters. So it's like, oh, well, like, I don't have that, fail safe of not having to worry about my life total. I've got to actually worry about both things. So, quite interesting, and a bit more of an elegant way to do it. And one thing that Paulson actually mentioned in our Discord in the chat was the venerated Rot Priest, which was the one we spoke about on the podcast. That, as you said, when a creature you control becomes a target of a spell, your opponent gets a poison counter. That actually gets you around Chalice of the Void. Chalice of the Void is a real big problem for a deck like Infect, where the vast majority of your spells cost 1. So your opponent goes Chalice on 1, it's like, well, now I can't cast any of my spells. None of my creatures have prowess, so I'm just doing nothing. But you're still casting the spell, it's just getting countered by Chalice. So you can cast it, you can target a creature, and you get that trigger off of your venerated Rot Priest, and then the spell gets countered. So it gives you multiple angles to attack on, and ways to get around sort of the typical hate. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a big uptick in Infect in Modern over the next few weeks once this set actually releases.
Yeah, the Rot Priest feels like just a huge upside for Modern Infect.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, Toxic's cool, fairly straightforward, and we'll see how it plays out in Command.
It feels like it. Yeah, I mean, in Command will be interesting, but it definitely feels like it's pushed enough that it's going to be a thing in Standard.
Yeah,
I think that there's enough support in this set to make it, a real player.
Yep.
So, all right.
Corrupted. So Corrupted is something we haven't spoken about yet.
Correct. It is a new mechanic.
I'm just going to fix my screen a bit.
Sure thing. So Corrupted is pretty straightforward. There's an ability, but you can only activate it if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. So here the example is a land called the Seed Call, and it's got Corrupted, and it says target 1/1 creature gets +2/+1 until end of turn, but activate only if an opponent has 3 or more poison counters. So this one's pretty on the nose as far as being the opposite of Pendlehaven, which was 1/1 give your creature +1/+2. This is just like upgrades. And you can also tap it for a mana to spend on Phyrexian creature spells. So I imagine this just becomes maybe not a 4 of, but at least like 2 or 3 in, Modern Infect again.
Yeah, I mean, not other than the new creatures, your old, I've got Scryfall open.
Well, you've got like Blighted Agent.
Are they actually Phyrexian creatures though?
Yeah.
Are they?
Pretty sure.
Let me just Scryfall search.
Glistener Elf is the other one.
Blighted Agent. Blighted Agent is a human rogue.
Really? Oh, they missed a trick there.
Glistener Elf is an elf warrior, but it's been errated to be a Phyrexian elf warrior, and I'm just wondering... Actually, no, Blighted Agent has also been errated to be a Phyrexian human rogue. Okay. So yeah, so they are Phyrexians. Okay, yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you'll have like Phyrexian Crusader and things like that. So, but the upside of that just seems really strong.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't cast your pump spells, but it casts all your creature spells.
But you use it as a pump spell itself anyway. And the fact that it's just tapped to activate, it doesn't cost anything. Neither did Pendlehaven, is worth noting. It tap for green. Did Pendlehaven enter tapped? I can't remember.
Oh, I don't think so.
I don't think so, but anyway. No, MZ saying. I think Corrupted will be really solid in... I mean, if Poison is a thing in Standard, then Corrupted will be a component of that. The upside of the Corrupted stuff seems pretty good.
So if we...
Pretty easy to get, like even incidentally. I don't even think you have to be going super hard on it.
Yeah, we scroll down a little bit further and then we've got some more stuff about Corrupted, So
do you know what this card is, Shorty?
It's the new Bitter Blossom.
Bitter Blossom.
It's the Bitter Blossom at home. How many Bitter Blossom at homes have we seen over the last few years? And everyone gets excited about them, and they're just not. They're not Bitter Blossom.
No, they're not.
No. But yeah, I'll read this now. So Skrelv's Hive.
Sure.
1 and a white enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose a life and you create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with Toxic 1, and this creature can't block. And then it's got Corrupted, which is the mechanic we're talking about. As long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, creatures you control with Toxic have lifelink. So, yeah, the Corrupted thing is something that is always 3 or more poison counters. So it doesn't matter how your opponent got the poison counters. It's just as soon as they've got 3 or more, they are corrupted by the Phyrexians.
Yep.
And so it will turn on. So there's going to be a bunch of cards that have this. So it's corrupted, and then there's something that happens. And in this case, it is creatures you control with Toxic have lifelink. So seems decent. Obviously, it's pumping out 1/1s with Toxic. So they become 1/1s with Toxic 1 and lifelink. They can't block. So that's reasonable. But yeah, it is definitely not
a real hint of what to do there. No, of course not. Like Hemsy said, flying is a hell of an ability. Yes, flying, being able to block, and also all of the other stuff like Stealth Spell, Stutter Sprite, and things you could do with Fairy synergies is obviously what made Bitter Blossom so nutty. But I wouldn't be surprised if this sees play, like this into wedding announcement, that kind of thing. Like you can just pump out a bunch of stuff. So it will be interesting to see if they sees play. But it feels like they're trying to make it Bitter Blossom at home. Yeah.
It is. It's hard to know. Like one thing to point out, it does say there in the text that as long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, so in multiplayer games you need only one opponent to have 3 or more poison counters, not all of them. So that's interesting. But like if you play the downside to Bitter Blossom was if you play 4 of Bitter Blossom, if you have 2 of them on the field, you are dying very quickly. And yes, you're creating 2 creatures at a time, but you're dying very quickly because you're generally playing it in a blue-black deck or a black-based deck, not with no lifelink, so you got no way of recouping that life. Whereas this one, you can have multiples. Like if you have 2 or 3 of these out, you're pumping out 2 or 3 creatures a turn. You're losing 2 or 3 life a turn, but you're gonna be able to get that life back pretty quickly by giving them all lifelink because they're going to be gaining you life whether they get blocked or not. And they can't block, so you might as well just be chump attacking with them and just gaining that life back and then spitting out more creatures. The other thing, I don't think it's this one. I think there's something. There's a creature or there's a card that I've seen that gives your creatures Toxic, like gives your creatures Toxic 1, and I think.
Does it stack?
I think it does stack because I think Toxic. Actually, maybe we'll scroll back up and have a look at Toxic.
Okay, interesting. What I was going to say is there's also a lot of equipment in this set, and just free bodies every turn to throw equipment on.
Yeah, it doesn't say, but I think like a creature could have Toxic 1 and Toxic 1, like multiple instances of Toxic.
Sure.
Possibly. We'll have to confirm that.
Yeah, have to get some rules on that one.
Yeah. But yeah, interesting card. The other thing on this card is their Phyrexian Might artifact creature tokens. So we do have some artifact synergy stuff still in standard. Like there's the red-black, the anvil that wants to be sacrificing artifacts and things like that. So yeah, potentially there's something to do there. So I don't know. It is certainly not Bitter Blossom, but it is potentially good.
Agreed.
So,
for sure. And Corrupt seems really good as well. Corrupt.
It does, yeah. Well, it's kind of a free. Like I'm tipping in standard. There's going to be a lot of just random good creatures that have Toxic, and so you're gonna over time your opponent's just gonna rack up 2 or 3 poison counters. And you can't really get rid of them. I haven't seen any way to get rid of them.
Nope.
So you're just going to rack them up, and then all of a sudden anything that's got Corrupted on it that's probably just a bit of extra trinket text is all of a sudden activated, and you get that bit of a bonus. So Matty P's pointing out goes well with Wedding Announcement because they're now 2/2s, which is pretty nice with lifelink, so seems good. Rolling Royce, you had a 495-person raid tonight. Why are you not still streaming then? Goodness me.
Dude,
That's what you get for playing Marvel Snap. Wow.
That's what you get for being good.
Yep. It also says here you also find instants and sorceries with corrupted abilities. So, yeah, I'm assuming they have a normal ability and then it's got a corrupted text, so it might be some extra thing that happens when you cast it, which is cool.
Yeah, like Threshold or stuff like that we've seen before.
Yeah. So whether it just turns the spell from, this spell deals 2 damage, and then if it's corrupted, it deals 4 damage or whatever, or it might be a whole extra thing. If it's corrupted, then it does something else as well. So that's cool.
We'll see that when we scroll through some of the cards.
Yep. All right. For Mirrodin! Exclamation mark.
So as I said, artifacts are back. Equipment is back in a big way. So basically what it means is when you say for Mirrodin, when it enters the battlefield, you create a 2/2 red rebel creature token and then attach it to it. So it's kind of like...
was it Living Weapon?
Yeah.
Made the germs?
Yeah, yep, exactly right.
Yep.
Except
so
this is a 2/2, whereas the living weapons were always like...
Yeah, it was an 0/1 germ.
0/0s.
Or, yeah, was it an 0/1 or a 0/0?
No, they're 0/0s, because when you bounce the token, the token dies.
Yeah, that's right.
So this one, Blade of Shared Souls, is 2 and a blue for Mirrodin. It's got a lot of text on this thing. Whenever Blade of Souls becomes attached to a creature, for as long as Blade of Souls remains attached to it, you may have that creature become a copy of another target creature you control and equip to. So it's a clone on a sword. So it doesn't actually do power or toughness or anything, but it creates a 2/2 and then your 2/2 becomes a clone.
Yeah, this is a nutty card for them to pick as the example card.
Yeah, it's pretty...
It's not only are we showcasing what the mechanic is, that's a little bit confusing as it is, then it's just weird as... Yeah. But it's not a 2/2.
Creature gets +2/+2 and first strike or something.
Pick something simple.
Dear, why start?
So, right, so it
always enters, creates a 2/2 rebel, and then you attach it for free. Yeah, which is really strong.
It is, yeah, like that, and that's always been the downside of equipment. It's
correct.
You play it for a cost, and then there's always a cost associated with equipping it to a creature. Yep. So unless that's where
Cigarda's Aid.
or Pure Steel Paladin or whatever, where you can pay 0. That's where a card like Batterskull has always been really powerful because it comes in attached to a creature. So it is a 0/0 germ, but it gets +4/+4 and lifelink and whatever else.
Trample, vigilance, all those things.
Yeah, all the things. So that's why it's good, because you can play it, and it's yes, it costs you a decent amount of mana to play it, but you get the benefits of it straight away. You can block with it and so on. So this gives you that. You've got a creature, it's attached to it. The other good thing with this is, like you said, it's a 2/2, not a 0/0. So if you were to move this equipment to another creature, you still keep that 2/2 creature token, which is good. So
nice bit of value.
Yeah, and they're always going to be 2/2 red rebels. Yeah.
Yeah, so 3 mana for a clone and a 2/2. I don't know, man. Seems pretty strong. And every time you pay 2, you clone again. I mean, obviously you need something on the battlefield that sticks around to be worth cloning, but that's an interesting effect.
Yeah, it only clones a creature.
Repeatable clones. Yeah, it's only things that you control. Yeah.
Yep. And you don't get the enters a battlefield abilities. That's like the Glasspool Mimic, those sorts of... We've seen 3 mana ones before. They entered the battlefield as a copy of another creature, and so you got the enters the battlefield triggers. This one you don't, which is generally a pretty big downside. But you can play this for 3, and then you go... All right, well, now I've got another creature that I want to have another copy of, so I'm just going to pay 2 mana, and now my creature is a copy of something else. So...
Yeah.
Question on this card: if it's already equipped to the 2/2, if you pay the 2 to equip it to the same creature,
you can't.
You can't do that. It has to be equipped to a different creature, and then
equip. I'm pretty sure is removed from current creature, attached to, equipped to another creature. I don't think you can just pay 2 to have it stay on the same creature and equip again.
Yeah.
You also can't equip at instant speed.
No,
so
you can't.
Equip is a sorcery speed thing, so you can't even re-equip in response to something or whatever to try and Because otherwise, that would be nutty.
Yeah, yep. I guess the benefit of this over, a card like Glasspool Mimic, that sort of thing, is it's always going to be at least a 2/2. So
yeah, exactly.
It's never a dead card. It's always going to be at least 2/2.
Yeah.
Yep. Any other notes on this?
No, that's it. It's pretty straightforward. They've just gone with some flavor text on it, but that's basically straightforward.
Yep. All right, cool. Oil counters.
Oh yeah. So these are just things that turn up on cards. We've talked about this on the cast. There was the 2-drop creature that I liked that when it had, whenever you cast insult or sorcery, you put an oil counter on it, you can remove 2 oil counters and then, like fork, you make a copy of your next instant or sorcery that you cast. So this one we've got Barabrask's Forge, which is an artifact that's 2 and a red. At the beginning of your turn, put an oil counter on it. Then create an X1 Phyrexian Horror creature token with trample and haste, where X is the number of oil counters on it. Sacrifice that token at the beginning of the next end step. So this thing is just churning out ball lightnings every turn if it sticks around for long enough.
I have not seen this card.
It's pretty good. It's pretty strong. I mean,
that's very good actually.
So 3 mana. It feels. It's not quite Shrine, where you can kind of do targeted removal or whatever. But there is a lot of proliferate as well in the set, which we'll come to in a second. But there are ways of putting oil counters on things. So there are spells that let you put oil counters. In fact, if you scroll down to the next card, Shorty.
Proliferate, yep.
Well, yeah, so there's proliferate, but there's also there are other cards that I've seen where it says, like, when it enters the battlefield, put 2 oil counters on target creature or artifact you control. It was like on a 3-drop with 3/2 haste. I think we might spot it.
Yeah,
things like that feeding into this. If you can work out ways to get additional incidental counters on here, then that's really good. Because, like, turn 4 making a 1/1 hasty trampoly dude is not great. But once it becomes 3/1s and once it becomes 4/1s.
It triggers at the beginning of combat on your turn.
Combat.
So the turn that you play it. So you play it on turn 3, you put a counter on it, and then you make a 1/1 haste trample. So it's 3 mana, 1/1 trace hample. Trace hample. Yeah, okay. Haste trample.
Yeah.
But you got to sack it. But again, there may be synergies for, sacrifice decks or anvil decks or something like that where you can actually use the creature for something else.
Yeah.
But the first turn you play it is a 1/1. The next turn it's a 2/1. The next turn you're getting a 3/1. And once you're getting 3/1 trample hastes, like, that's pretty good. And then they're only getting bigger from there. And like I said, if you do have proliferate synergies built in, or you just have incidental good creatures that just happen to put oil counters on things, or spells that just have oil counters tacked on to put them on permanents or something along those lines, then you're very quickly spitting out ball lightnings every turn. And a ball lightning is not a good card, but when they're free, they're quite good. So I'm liking the look of this card. Looks quite good. Other cards care about how many permanents you control with oil counters on them, and others move oil counters around. Things get slippery very, very quickly. Good job, Wizards. Okay. Interesting. So,
well, not anymore. It was.
So an oil counter is just a form of a counter.
And it's...
You there?
Okay, that's kind of gross, but sure.
Hello? Are you like miles behind?
Yeah,
me?
Can you hear me? Sorry, I'm just...
Yeah, can you? Yep. Can you hear me? I think Cracker's just like lagging a whole bunch. He might be gone. All right. We'll get into proliferate. So, proliferate is a very hard word to say, especially many times in a row. Ob Nixilis is still legal. Oh, yeah, so you can casualty the thing. Yep. Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I could. It went all laggy for a minute there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You were miles behind.
yeah. It was like if you get a ball, like I was like, all right, I know what he's saying here, but I don't know how far away. Yeah. So proliferate. Did you already talk about that one or not?
I haven't, but Hemsy just flagged in the chat that Obnixilis is still legal in red and black colours. So Obnixilis
Yes,
gets,
he is.
like, when you
Yeah, so
casualty, it's based on the
anything
power
you
of
can
the
do in
creature.
the second main phase is really strong.
Yep. Interesting. All right, get us into proliferate then.
Proliferate. So this is a thing we've seen before. It's a returning keyword, as it says. And you just get to add more. So proliferate is a keyword that says choose any number of permanents and or players and give them another counter of each kind already there. So if it's got an oil counter, you can give them another oil counter. If it's got a poison counter on a player, you can give them another poison counter. Or you can do planeswalkers, you can do saga chapters, anything that has a counter of any description. If your creature's got +1/+1, and you can do it for all of them. So you don't have to pick one. You just go, right, you get a poison, my planeswalker gets a loyalty, my saga gets a chapter. I think it's an oil counter. Like, as many counters as you've got, you can increment them all by however many times it says proliferate. So if it says proliferate, you do it once. If it's proliferate 2, then you can do it twice, so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's interesting how many applications it has. Like
Many.
You kind of don't think about I can put an extra counter on my saga, which means I can flip my Fable of the Mirror Breaker, like, at instant speed. So at the end of your turn, I can flip my Fable, and then I can untap and then copy a creature, and away I go. The poison counters. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Just like adding extra poison counters is going to add up really quickly, and increasing +1/+1s on creatures. It's
cool. Exactly. And so like this one, we've got experimental augury, which is an instant. Look at the top 3, put one in your hand, and the rest on the bottom in any order. Proliferate. So this is basically anticipate.
Yep.
Right. Except with proliferate because reasons.
Yep. Because power creep.
So if you've got 2 poison counters on a opponent and you attack with something, and then you've got the corrupted ability, you can just turn that on at instant speed. That's gross.
Yep.
That's so hard to play around. Like, all these attacking things have got lifelink now, or they get a buff or something. Like, there's just so many tricks that people will get blown out by this left and right.
Yeah, well, you can instant speed flip your saga, so you've now got a big blocker or something like that. One of the ones that flips into a decent sized creature. It's like, you attack, okay, cool. Before blocks, I'll look at the top 3 cards and take one, and then flip my saga, and now block your creature and whatever else. It's it's interesting. It has a lot of applications, and it's going to be very powerful. And if we're seeing it tacked onto random
actual
cards that are already decent,
playing.
That's good.
I anticipate a lot.
We saw that with, was it Food, where it was just like spells that were already decent, and it just randomly had tacked on create a food. And then we saw it a little bit with Treasures as well, but I think they'd sort of learned a little bit from the Food.
Not as bad with Treasures, but yes.
Yeah, Food was really like, you just get a food just because we just wanted to promote our mechanic, and then turns out Food was actually really, really strong. So we might see a bit of that here.
And look, you don't even have to be playing like poison at all to leverage proliferate.
No.
You I mean, obviously you get maximum value there, but as MG said, there are 10 planeswalkers in this set.
On top of all the millions we already have.
Yeah, exactly. And some of them look really good too.
Yep. I was listening to Midweek Metagame today with Gab Nassif, and he was saying that Narset, like 3 mana Narset, comes in with 5 loyalty, and you -2, then -2, and then it's left with 1 loyalty counter, and it just sits there with 1 loyalty counter, and it, like, obviously it's got its static ability, which is generally pretty strong, but you never get to use that last 1 loyalty counter because there's no plus ability on it. But with this, you can put another counter on it, and then actually get another activation out of a card like Narset. So
Nice.
just little things like that you don't really think about.
Yeah, I mean, like any way you can speed up an ultimate on a Planeswalker is something worth paying really close attention to.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, the other thing, like they pointed out here, if you've got a creature with a +1/+1 counter and a stun counter on it, you can add, your choice, one of each kind of counter, or add nothing, whatever. But yeah, it's just anything that's got a counter on it. Doesn't matter what type of counter it is, pick it, and you can add another one. All right, that's it. That's our mechanic. So Proliferate is a returning mechanic. The oil counters is not really a mechanic as such.
It's a keyword.
Yeah, keyword ability. Well, it says, although oil counters aren't keyword ability, they have no inherent rules meaning.
Okay.
They're just a counter. It's just a way of... I mean, it's like random, you get time counters on things or whatever.
Yeah. It's just a way of tracking it.
The 4 Mirrodin is technically a new mechanic, but we've seen it before. It's the same as Living Weapon.
Yep.
And Toxic is... Well, Corrupted is a new mechanic, based off of a mechanic that we've seen before. And then Toxic is old Infect, but slightly improved. So they haven't really gone too crazy. But all of these mechanics actually seem playable is what's interesting.
100% agree. Yeah. It doesn't feel like this just like the this is for the limited set. It quite often feels like there's one of those in a set where it's just like, oh, this is a limited ability. It's not going to come up. But all of these feel like they will see play in, at least standard, but certainly other sets as well.
Yeah, I'm tipping we're going to see a poison dedicated deck of some sort. I mean, at a bare minimum, Paulson's gonna put one together and play it, whether it's competitive or not. But
listen, it's no worse than me trying to make Delver work.
yeah. But I'm tipping there is enough. There's enough there to make a viable poison deck, whether it is one of the top tier decks or not. There should be enough there for it to be constructed viable. And then the rest of the mechanics all just seem like good, solid mechanics that will just see play, not necessarily as a deck of their own, but just on cards and yeah. So I think we're going to see quite a bit of it around. I don't think there's going to be enough. Like there's the 4 Mirrodin mechanic. Obviously, he's pointing in an equipment type direction. I just don't see an equipment deck. They've been sort of seeding it for a while, but I just don't think we're going to see enough.
Well, there's the new sword.
Yeah, there is. Yep.
But yeah, I mean, potentially, like maybe it just supplements soldiers enough or something like that to get it there. I don't know whether that needs the pump. I guess we'll just have to kind of wait and see. Yep.
All right. Well, let's have a look at some cards.
Let's do that.
I haven't been through the full preview.
Okay, how are you sorting this by colour?
This is just sorted by colour.
Okay, cool.
We've got 1 million printings of Elesh Norn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
like
6, 7, 8. Are these different? 9. They look the same.
I don't know, man. Whatever. We've talked about Elesh Norn.
They're different set numbers. That's 9, 10 with different set numbers. What on earth is wrong with Wizards? Why do you need 10 versions of a card?
Reasons.
I can't tell the difference between... Like, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but...
Okay.
Like that one and the one below it have different set numbers. There's 416 and 421. So they are different cards.
Yep.
But what is the difference? Is this like a spot the difference thing?
Maybe. I don't know. I can't see anything either. Anyway.
I don't know.
That's fine. Doesn't matter.
So I haven't been through the set and found cards to talk about, so I guess we can just sort of.
Well, there's definitely
scroll
a few that I've spotted that seem really strong. So
I mean, we'll start with this first one here, Annex Sentry. It's 3 mana, 1/4 with Toxic 1. And when it enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls a mana value 3 or less until it leaves the battlefield. So we've seen that ability a bunch of times, but it's on a 1/4 body, which is decent. And it has the Toxic tacked onto it.
Yeah, there used to be a card called Priests of Norn, which was a 1/4 with Infect. That I remember was really annoying because it was just like a wall that was so hard to get through. 1/4 is a really 4 is a really important breakpoint as far as toughness goes as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, much harder to kill. I don't know what's this one? Complete Devotion. Instant target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If it has Toxic, draw a card. Okay, interesting. We've spoken about Elish Norn. Seems decent.
So Kemba is interesting, whether that's good enough to be pushing the artifact deck. So Kemba Car Enduring is 1 and a white for a 2/2 legendary cat cleric. Whenever Kemba Enduring or another cat enters the battlefield under your control, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to that creature. Equipped creatures you control get +1/+1. 3 white to create a 2/2 white cat creature token. So
the card looks like it's going straight into the cat commander deck, the pre-con
100%
deck.
Not even
very
a
solid in
question.
there.
I mean, so Kemba used to get used to make tokens for the amount of equipments that you had on it at the beginning of combat or beginning of your upkeep or whatever. But it's tricky because this is like, how many cats and equipments can you have? Like, how wide are you trying to go with this thing? It feels like this is supposed to be the payoff for the equipment deck, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. Not me.
Yep. Just interesting to point out the Jawbone Duelist at the top there, 2 mana 1/1 with Double Strike with Toxic 1. Double Strike means if it hits the player for 2, they get 2 poison counters because it is dealing combat damage twice.
Yep.
So it will get the double, which is worth noting.
Correct.
Might Overseer. We've got full-on Phyrexian mana, just back in the set. I did not think we would actually see that. We saw it with the Jarni a few sets ago, but it was the hybrid thing and with the completed Planeswalkers and then with Tamiyo and whatever. I was like, okay, yeah, maybe like that's how they'll do it. But we've just got straight up Phyrexian mana here. So 4 mana, 4/2 first strike. As long as it's your turn, creature tokens you control get +1/+0 and have first strike. Could work with that enchantment we were looking at before. And then 3 and a Phyrexian white. So if you don't know how Phyrexian mana works, so when it's a white symbol like that, you can either pay a white mana or you can pay 2 life. So 3 and a white or 3 and 2 life. Create a 1/1 might with Toxic 1 with this creature can't block, which is what that enchantment, the Bitter Blossom at Home, pumps out. Maybe? I don't know, you're pumping out a lot of tokens, and your tokens get +1/+0 on our first strike.
Jumpstart only card, which makes sense because it's number 404.
Is it?
Which is like
how do we even know that? But all the like alt arts are also like higher numbers.
Correct, but that is
because you have like Mondrak there, which is 23
it says like 23 of 271, exactly.
Yeah, but then the one next to it is just number 299 because it's
correct. But there's no other version of Might Overseer that has.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like Kemba's got 19 of 271 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever.
So keep going.
Yep. Ossifications, decent removal. We've got the lay down arms. Is that the new Swords to Plowshares? Is that what it's called? The single white exile a creature for the number of planes you control.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That sounds right.
So this is, 1 and a white, enchant basic land you control. When it enters the battlefield, exile target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. So 2 mana, enchantment removal. You need quite a few basics. But it's pretty solid, and it can deal with planeswalkers, so...
I mean, this is kind of like Chain to the Rocks again. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yeah, it's a version of Chain to the Rocks, which was enchant a mountain. It was
Mountain,
a
correct.
single white, but it had to enchant a mountain.
Yep. Yeah, this seems really strong.
Yep. We've got a new pacifism, Planar Disruption.
Yep.
Just hits artifacts and
hits
planeswalkers
artifacts
now.
and planeswalkers, yeah. Seems really, again, really strong.
Nice.
If you keep going down, there's the Might itself. Skrelv
Defectomite. Single white for 1/1 with Toxic 1 that can't block. And then it's got a single Phyrexian mana, white Phyrexian mana, and tap. Choose a color. Another target creature you control gains Toxic 1 and hexproof from that color until end of turn. Can't be blocked by creatures of that color this turn. So it's semi-protection that it's giving. Hexproof and can't be blocked. And it gains Toxic 1.
It's Mother of Runes.
Yeah, sort of.
Almost.
So this is one of those things where it's giving a creature Toxic 1. So this is where we want to have that rules check. If a creature already has Toxic 1 and then you give it Toxic 1 again, is that 2 instances of Toxic 1?
Yeah, does it become Toxic 2? Yeah.
Yep. So
but even if it doesn't do anything else, like keeping... I know that you can use this aggressively because it means your creatures can't be blocked. So it's almost like protection, but it's not protection because it says gains hexproof.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Obviously, they've moved away from protection as a mechanic, but yeah, it'll be interesting.
Swooping Lookout, single white for a 1/2 flying vigilance. Suntail Hawk, where you at? Just tack on an extra toughness and vigilance now. We've already spoken about the Eternal Wanderer. Chewie spoke about that on the podcast. Vanish into Eternity, 2 and a white. Exile target non-land permanent. It costs 3 more to cast if it targets a creature. Okay. That's interesting.
1 mana, exile your planeswalker. Literally.
1 mana?
Oh, sorry. No. Oh, it's not 3. Sorry, it costs 6 if you're targeting a creature.
Yeah. So it's 3 mana, exile an artifact or a planeswalker or an enchantment or something. But 6 mana if it's a creature.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It is. I don't know whether it's good enough, but it's close.
Swooping Lookout is a good equipment enabler. Yeah. It's an artifact, it's a cheap creature, and it flies. Probably be quite good in an equipment deck in Limited, I would imagine. G'day, Kraken.
Yeah.
The Twilights. We haven't spoken about any of the Twilights yet, have we?
I think we did.
We didn't do a podcast
very early on.
Forever.
We talked about Blue Sun's Twilight.
Yeah.
So we had previewed.
Yeah, which we've got here, and we've got the white one. So we had the Zeniths. So we had White Sun Zenith, Blue Sun Zenith, all that sort of stuff. Was that in the original Mirrodin, or was that in?
It was
the new ones. Original, okay. So they were all X spells.
Correct.
So white one here, we've already spoken about the blue one, the white one, X, white. You gain X life, create X 1/1, the mites with Toxic 1. If X is 5 or more, destroy all other creatures. Okay. So 7 mana, wipe the board, have 5 1/1s with Toxic 1.
Yep.
That's
Real
not
good.
A bad control finisher.
It's... Oh, I've gone blank. There was another one that was exactly like this, except it made tokens.
I played it in Cube.
Yeah.
When we were in Sydney, I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I just put it in, but it's the same thing.
Marshall Coup.
Marshall Coup, that's the one.
Thanks, chat. Yep, played that in Cube.
It is definitely Marshall Coup, except if X is 5 or more, you get toxic. So it's like 2 attacks. Yeah, Descend was similar.
Yep.
This seems really good. So does Blue Suns. We did talk about that one.
Blue Sun's interesting for copying tokens. Like, you can pay blue and copy a token.
No, it's gain control.
Oh, sorry, not make a copy of it. You can gain control of it for blue.
Control.
Yeah. So something like a Fable token, something like that. You can just go, I'll just take that, and then I'll start making the treasures. Which is interesting.
Yes.
Be good for stealing Shark Typhoon tokens.
Oh, it would. Or Ren and 7 tokens if that was still a thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's still in standard.
Is it?
Yeah.
Does anyone play that card anymore? Does
Azzy
anyone play
G?
green anymore?
No. G'day to Broom.
Hey,
how's it going, mate?
Yeah, how are you, buddy?
We got the fixed Mycosynth lattice, the encroaching Mycosynth. Non-land permanents are now artifacts.
Yep. Same is true for... Hang on. Same is true for permanent spells you control and non-land permanents you control.
You own that on the battlefield.
So effects that let you your Fabricate just searches your whole deck now.
Yeah. Yep,
just becomes like
artifacts.
Demonic Shooter.
Yep. Jace. Do we want to talk about Jace?
No.
Nope. I've not been terribly impressed with the completed Planeswalkers so far. We've got about 50 versions of Jace as well, by the looks of it. We
do. I don't know. I'm kind of sad they did this to him, but, that's fine. Good job, Frasca. Got him. Get wrecked.
Yeah. I mean, there is a mill deck in Modern.
He seems kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Sure. This is not going to go into that deck.
No, it's not. It's not good enough for it, but...
What are you going to do? Like, minus... On turn 3, you have it come down as a 3/3. You go, -3 counters MILF 9. It's not very exciting. It's way better.
Yeah. It is target player, so you can self-mill.
Yep.
If that's something relevant that you're doing.
Yep. And look, the -2 also does do the... there's that 1 mana spell that's...
Yeah. Yep.
You know the one I'm thinking of.
I played that in Jeskai Synergy combo. Can't remember what it's called though. Yep.
So if it had, 20 or more cards in your graveyard, you drew 3 instead. It's kind of whatever. Mercurial Spell Dancer we talked about on cast.
Yep.
Seems really good.
Quite good. Minor Misstep. Fixed Mental Misstep. What do you think of this one?
Mind Splice Apparatus.
Okay.
Seems interesting. Oh, do you mean Minor Misstep?
Yeah, Minor Misstep.
It's interesting. I don't quite know where the home for it is. Whether it actually sees play in Modern for, hitting Cascade and things like that. There's just Flusterstorm and other things you can do as well, which might just be better. But it depends on... Look, the fact that it's 1 or less is interesting.
Yeah. The 1 or less part is...
As opposed to Spell Snare, which is like 2.
Yep, just straight up 2 mana value. Yep. Yeah, I think it will see play in sideboards in Modern. I highly doubt it's going to see any play in Standard and Pioneer, but probably Modern is likely to see some sideboard play. Potentially some main deck if there's enough decks getting around.
So Mind Splice Apparatus. 3 in blue, flash artifacts. At the beginning of your upkeep, put an oil counter on it. Instant and sorceries you cast cost 1 less for each oil counter on Mind Splice Apparatus. So, first turn is Electromancer, and then you just go from there.
It is, but you have to cast it at the end of your opponent's turn to get that.
Sure, but I mean, blue decks are wanting to play at instant speed anyway, and then you can untap, play your thing for a single blue, look at the top 3, proliferate, your next spell costs 2 less. Like, that's getting big discounts really quickly.
It is, yeah. Yeah, I would definitely be playing this in my commander deck that I'm no longer allowed to play.
You can play that, okay. I think you pulled it apart. But, yeah, man, seems strong.
Yeah, like, An obvious home for it is like Storm in Modern, but I just don't think it's actually good enough.
It's too slow for that.
For Storm.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think it's.
Well, yeah.
I don't think it's going to be like it's kind of not doing enough. Like you can play Haughty Djinn. Like once you get more than 1 mana discount, it's not. I don't think you're actually. I think it's like diminishing returns. You know, like that first mana you're taking off a lot of spells, it makes quite a big difference. But once you get to 2 or 3 mana, it's probably not as much of a difference. Like, yes, you can probably have some bonkers turns where you're just chaining a bunch of things together, but yeah, I probably don't think it actually makes that much difference as opposed to that first, like, the anticipate spell going from 2 mana to 1 mana. That is a huge difference, but once the discount is 2, well, it has no effect on that spell anymore.
But then you get like big X spells for cheap, man.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, you could build it up over a few turns and proliferate it a bit, and then get some huge X spells like the Blue Sun's Twilight.
I mean, it'd be better if it drew cards, but yeah, there's Blue Suns. It's I don't know. It seems like a card worth paying attention to because it'll do nothing. It'll be busted.
Yeah. All right, down into some black cards. Archfiend of the Dross.
Yeah.
Wow, okay. 2 black for a flying 6/6. Seems good. There's usually a downside that comes with that. Enters the battlefield with 4 oil counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove an oil counter from it. Then if it has no oil counters on it, you lose the game. That's a bit of a downside. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, its controller loses 2 life. Wow, okay. So not only is it a 6/6 flyer, but it's also helping you to win the game quickly every time you kill your opponent's creatures. That art is actually really sweet. Both
it's
types
awesome.
of those arts is cool, but the stock art actually looks like a Warhammer 40k.
It really does.
Necrons thing.
Straight out of that.
So 4 oil counters. So you cast it. It's got 4 oil counters.
Yeah.
So you get 3 attacks with it.
Yep.
Because you remove the last. Yeah, like without proliferating, you remove the last counter. Then if it has no counters on it, you lose the game. Yeah. So you only get 3 attacks with it, without proliferating, which is potentially 18. It doesn't have trample though.
No, it doesn't. But yeah, interesting. Also, I don't know the fact that like you don't just lose when it dies.
Yeah.
So if someone just hits it with a removal spell or exiles it, if there's a way you can like blink it and bring it back, it'll come back with 4 more oil counters. I don't know. It feels like there's some shenanigans you can get up to there. 4 mana 6/6s are worth paying attention to.
Yeah, I think if it was a 6/6 flyer with trample, I think it would be
a bit too strong.
Really, really good. I think the fact that it doesn't have trample probably lets it down a little bit. That little trinket text at the end, whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, its control loses 2 life. That's actually decent. Like, even if this thing just gets chump blocked for 3 attacks, they're still losing 6 life from that. Yep. So you just need to find a way to get rid of it before you lose the game.
Yeah, you need a way to sacrifice it or proliferate is the thing there.
Yep. The card next to it, Anoint with Affliction, 1 and a black.
I was about to say that one seems really good.
Instant, exile target creature, mana value 3 or less. Seems reasonable as it is, and then it's got Corrupted, so tacked onto it if an opponent has... Oh, sorry, exile that creature instead if its controller has 3 or more poison counters. Okay, that's interesting. It's not Corrupted is just turned on by any opponent. It has to be specifically that creature's controller.
No.
Yeah, it says exile that creature instead if its controller has 3 or more poison counters. Yep.
Yeah.
Seems solid though. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gets rid of both sides of Fable.
Yeah. And exile this is better than destroy.
Yep.
I think we've talked about Black Suns, maybe not.
I don't think so.
Black
I think
and X. After 1 target creature gets -X until end of turn. If X is 5 or more, return a creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Importantly, this one's an instant.
Just realised I've got my snack plate next to me. I haven't even touched it yet.
The card's too exciting, man. The blue one and the white one are both sorceries, but this one, instant speed minus.
Oh, I didn't even realise that. Yeah, sorcery. Oh wow. Okay.
Yep, gotta pay attention. They'd be instant speed wrath. They tend not to do those.
Yeah, that's true. This one does return the creature tapped though.
It does. You can't ambush with it, but you can also just like kill a thing.
Yeah, that'd be pretty bonkers if you could. It's like you attack, kill one of your creatures, bring back another creature from my graveyard, block your other creature, just total blowout.
Yeah,
like my voice just then. That was perfect timing.
Blowout. I mean, like, so what are we talking about? Like 5 mana. Okay, 6 mana. Bring back an Archfiend. Untap, slay for 6. Yeah, that seems pretty strong.
Yeah, kill your flying blocker, bring back my 6/6. Untap, attack with it.
Yep.
Very good.
Right.
We've got a rat. 2 mana, 2/2 rat with toxic 1, and then when it dies, proliferates. See, this is the sort of thing I think we're going to see just randomly cards like this, that it's like, yep, this card is reasonable on its own, and it just happens to have proliferate tacked onto it. So you can choose to not block it if you want, and you can take 2 life and a toxic and a poison counter, or you can block it, and it's going to probably kill your creature, and then I'm going to proliferate something anyway.
So it definitely does, yeah.
It doesn't have death touch.
Didn't it?
No. Blight belly rat. No, it does not have death touch.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Alright. Pick a card. I'm gonna eat some more snacks.
Hang on. Give me on a second. My internet is doing things.
Your internet's doing all sorts of things tonight.
And none of them are good.
No, that's right. We've got a couple of... Oh, actually, there's a bunch of rats in this deck, but in this set. Karu Monix, the Rat King. This looks like a Skaven straight out of Warhammer. 3 mana, 2 black for 3/3. Legendary Phyrexian rat, toxic 1. Other rats you control have toxic 1. And it enters the battlefield. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal any number of rat cards from among them and put the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Are we going to get enough rats to play rat tribal in standard?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, but Commander,
definitely.
I mean, you can play this as your commander.
Yep.
And yeah, you play, is it Relentless Rats? That's the one you can have as many of them as you want.
You can have as many as you want. Or Pack Rat.
Yeah.
Is the other one. We can just keep turning out. But yeah, Relentless Rats is the kind of the funny one.
So you play it as your commander. You play it on turn 3. You just draw probably like 3 rats. Seems okay. Maybe?
Seems
I don't know.
fine. I mean, and then it dies and you do it again, so...
Yeah. Phyrexian Arena? What?
Ooh. Yeah, buddy.
I mean, I don't know if it's actually good enough, but
Yes.
I've still got I think I've actually still got whiteboarded Phyrexian Arenas. I've definitely got some old boarded ones from back in the day. I think I might even have some whiteboarded ones from like 9th edition or something.
Yeah, I think I've got one laying around as
This
well.
card was like... wasn't heavily played in standard back in the day, but it was played. It's just one of those cards that just it's just that incremental, like, every turn I'm just drawing an extra card, like, and I mean, pair this with our favorite person in Magic at the moment, Sheoldred. That seems
Feels good. Yeah, draw an extra card, gain 1 life instead of gain 2.
Yeah, so it's
Sure. 2 cards, gain 3.
Draw a card.
Or,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Draw 2 cards a turn, gain 3 life. Seems pretty decent.
Seems above average. I don't know if you can take turn 3 off just doing that though.
Probably not.
Yeah, Magic now is a little different.
Yep.
Unfortunately.
Did you guys speak about Phyrexian Obliterator?
We did.
Yep. How cool's the like whatever that art is?
They're insane.
Sketchy Yuki Nishimoto. That's
Sure.
very cool. Yep. Sheoldred's Edict. This card is quite nice. So 1 and a black instant. Choose one. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature. Each opponent sacrifices a creature token, or each opponent sacrifices a planeswalker. So this thing's like multiple improvements from. Is it Diabolic Edict? Is that the?
It is. Well,
Yep,
yeah,
the original one.
I mean, Diabolic Edict did have flashback. Is the only difference.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, like the downside to edicts has always been, oh, my opponent just sacks
Yeah,
their
get rid of
token,
the
or whatever. This hits, like you can force them to sack their non-token, or you can force them to sack their token, if that's what you want them to get rid of, or you can force them to sack their planeswalker, which is very, very strong. And it's also worded each opponent, so it is commander viable. Very strong card.
Yeah, really, really good. We have seen other edicts where it's like opponent sacrifices creature with like highest mana value, so you always snipe like
the biggest thing. Yep.
Which was always pretty good. But yeah, this is strict upgrades.
All right, Vraska.
Sure.
So someone was saying in chat before they think Vraska is sneaky strong, so we probably should read it.
Okay.
4 and a black. Four and a black
really
and a
good.
Phyrexian black. Vraska Betrayal's Sting. So you can either play it for 5 mana and 2 life, or 6 mana total. 6 starting loyalty. So you got to pay the 6 mana to get 6 starting loyalty. If you pay the 5 mana and the 2 life, it's coming in with 4 loyalty. And it has 0, draw a card, you lose a life and proliferate. So that's technically a +1. So
Keep
draw a
going.
card, lose life. -2, target creature becomes a treasure artifact with just the standard treasure text. Okay, just turns a creature into a treasure. And then -9, if target player has fewer than 9 poison counters, they get a number of poison counters equal to the difference. So you're just putting a player straight on 9 poison. And then you can then proliferate the next turn and give them the last poison counter.
Yes.
I mean, we saw with, like, Oko turning creatures into, like, making them lose all their abilities and just becoming elks was certainly strong.
Yeah, they learned to make it a minus instead of a +2.
Yeah, that was a plus ability.
Oko's the most broken planeswalker ever. I will cop to that. So.
But a treasure is pretty handy. Like, you are ramping your opponent.
This on turn 5 at the minimum.
Yeah.
So, like, mana shouldn't be like, yes, but like turning a Titan of Industry into
a treasure,
like it's not a destroy, it's not an exile effect, like it just happens. Like, unless it's got hexproof, it doesn't matter if it's indestructible. Like, it just is, it's just cooked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yes, the one shot Lotus Petal thing is definitely a downside. But yeah, she seems strong.
And it not being a +1, instead tacking on the proliferate text is very, very good.
It's actually just better.
Yeah, because if that was just
like the Teferi did the same thing, where whenever you draw a card, you get a +1.
Yeah, it's a 0 ability, but the 0 ability is draw a card, and then by drawing a card, you give it +1 anyway. So, yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Chewy in the chat.
Is a treasure better than a 3/3 on turn 5? Maybe, because I mean, if it's an only creature, then she's you're not getting any of the pressure. I mean, Oko's thing was so stupid because even if you did have nothing else on board,
you just couldn't kill Oko because it was a plus ability. It's its loyalty just went so high so quick.
Like, +3, yeah, it's fine. Who cares?
Yeah,
like,
whereas this, like,
whatever it was.
Yeah, like if you play this if you're on the play, you play this on turn 5. It comes in as a 4/4, as a 4 loyalty. You're minusing 2, so it's down to 2 loyalty. But you're ramping your opponent at a point in the game where that treasure is actually probably quite valuable. So
Agreed.
yeah, you're potentially putting them to 5 or 6 mana on their turn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It seems strong.
It's good that there's a downside. Like, it is good that it puts you in these positions where you have to evaluate the board state correctly.
Yeah.
Rather than it just being a planeswalker, you just like slam it and it doesn't matter which. You literally just like point your finger on the card and do the thing and win the game. Like, that's what Oko was. That's what we've seen with other planeswalkers. Whereas this one, like, you have to understand what you've got, what's going on.
Yep. All right.
Wait.
Oh, we missed something? What do you want to talk about?
It is called Cacophony Scamp.
Yep, I got that on the screen.
So,
G'day, Plunks.
Pioneer, turn 2 kill. So,
Yes.
turn 1, you play this. Turn 2, you play Sagada's Aid plus Hammer. Dead you. Attack for 10, sacrifice it. Right? You make
If they don't block.
Yeah, sure. But so, yes, correct. If they don't block, then you just win because you do them 11 and then you do them another 11.
Yeah.
Regardless, we've seen like Fanatical Firebrand and other things like this before where the ability to have it deal damage equal to its power is really strong. I mean, Firebrand was better because you could tap it to sacrifice a thing. But yeah, this is...
It also had haste.
That's true. That's true.
This doesn't have haste. It's got to deal combat damage to a player for its sacrifice ability to be turned on.
Proliferates as well. So, like, you
only get to proliferate if it's dealt damage to a player and you sacrifice it. Then you get to proliferate.
Sure.
It seemed to me it's like if you're getting through with your 1/1, you probably don't want to be sacrificing it because you're getting through with a 1/1. But if you've got other permanents on the battlefield that you want to be proliferating onto, you're not getting through with a 1/1, which means you're not getting to use its ability.
Maybe, but you can put your opponent in awkward positions where, like, they have to block something that's more threatening, or this, or they have to take more damage. Like, you can make it tough. It has potential. Is it busted? No, apart from in Magical Christmas Land, right? But, I mean, hey, man, we're Magic players. We live in Magical Christmas Land. Well, our brains do. Our games don't. Get back up again.
Oh, you've got another one you want to talk about.
The Darrigan, the red.
Sure.
Capricious Hellraiser. So 3 and 3 red, 4/4. It costs 3 less if you had 9 or more cards in your graveyard. Flying, when it enters a battlefield, exile 3 cards at random from your graveyard. Choose a non-creature, non-land from among them, and copy it. You may cast that copy without paying its mana cost. I mean...
Speaking of Magical Christmas Land.
What? You're going to pay 3 for it? Red.
What deck are you playing that you've got more than 9 cards in your graveyard?
Shorty,
that you're also playing this.
Yeah, have you heard of a deck? It's called Is It Phoenix?
You're not. You're not playing this in Phoenix.
What? You flip a treasure cruise, cast it for free? I've nearly killed him. Congratulations. Here we go. Shorty's dead from my stupidity. I knew I'd get him one day.
Oh,
he's actually gone off the.
Wow! I'm like, my eyes are watering. I breathed in a crunchy.
Don't breathe.
I do not recommend doing that. Wow. My wife's even come out of bed to check on me.
Choking on a crunchy.
Goodness me!
What an ignominious end to our glorious leader. All
right. So you're exiling cards at random from your graveyard. So he played in Phoenix. I guarantee you've got 9 cards in your graveyard. You're going to exile your Phoenixes. And then you're going to be really sad. It also doesn't have haste.
I know. But I'm just saying, it is not that impossible to make it a 3 mana thing. If it's 6, it's not good. But, you know.
Yeah, if it had haste, I think I'd be more in for this card. But
sure.
Yeah, I don't see it being played in a Phoenix deck, but
No, I don't actually either. But I'm just saying, like,
That was your whole argument.
no. It was me just trying to bait you.
That's what set me off and nearly killed me.
Villamachus is just straight 7 mana though, Plunks. Like, you never cast it for 3. Like, there's no way to cheat it. The upside of this is really strong, right? Choose a non-creature, non-land card from among them and copy it.
But it's 3 cards at random from your graveyard.
Sure.
So you've got to have like a high percentage of non-creature, non-land cards.
If you've surveilled stuff into the graveyard and then you've cast some instants, like, it shouldn't be that hard to set it up so that you've, you know.
Yeah, I guarantee you, it's like, yes, I've got 9 cards in my graveyard. I'll shuffle them up. We'll reveal 3 at random, and it's going to be 2 Phoenixes and a land, and they don't go back into your graveyard. They stay exiled. So you're going to go, now I don't get my Phoenixes back, and I don't get to cast anything.
You got to try these things, all right?
Why is there a picture here of someone's thumb and a nail?
Because they were the cards that got opened out of the boosters.
The accidental.
Yeah, so that's not officially previewed yet. But
do you like touching on that? Do you think Wizards did that on purpose, or do you think it was just a total accident?
No chance. Come on. Sometimes when they accidentally preview like one face card, I think it's on purpose. I think that's clever marketing. But there was like 60 rares previewed, so there's just no way they did that by.
Yeah.
And they're pulling them out of packs. I think it's just to stuff up at the printers.
Yep. Fair enough. All right. Hex Gold Slash. Red mana for an instant, deals 2 damage to target creature. If that creature has Toxic, deals 4 damage to that creature instead. So if we do see a Toxic deck rising up, then good way to pick off their creatures.
Yep.
Although in most circumstances, there's better spells to be played.
Yep.
Koth. Is this a good Koth?
No.
Nope. It's actually a really bad Koth.
Yeah. Magnetic Sprinter is the one I was talking about before. So 3 mana, 3/2 haste. When it enters the battlefield, put 2 oil counters on target artifact or creature you control. At the beginning of your end step, return it to its owner's hand unless you remove 2 oil counters from it. So it's basically like dash. And then if you make your you know, that thing we were talking about, where all of a sudden you play it on turn 3, it comes down, it's making a 1/1 with haste, and then you do this.
Yep.
It becomes a 4/1 on the second turn it's out, plus you got a 3/2 attacking. So like that feels like it could be a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, potentially. You could use it to put oil counters on your big 6/6 dragon.
Sure.
Yep. All right, we've got the Red Twilight, Red Sun's Twilight, X Red Sorcery, destroy up to X. Why do people take photos like that? Like there's a corner of a card there. It's like, I've opened these sweet cards that shouldn't be here. I'm just going to take a horrible picture.
How do you even do that? Like, who's still rocking a flip phone from 1999 that takes photos this bad?
Oh my goodness.
I don't get it.
Wow.
Like,
anyway.
destroy. Android.
Yeah. Oh. Where's we see our pod?
Correct.
Destroy up to X target artifacts. If X is 5 or more, for each artifact destroyed this way, create a token that's a copy of it. Those tokens gain haste. Exile them at the beginning of the next end step. I don't think that's in any way playable.
No. It's not Shattering Spree or anything like that. In fact, if you go up just a little bit from Koth.
Yep, there's the Gleeful Demolition.
Yeah.
Destroy target artifact. If you controlled that artifact, create 3 Phyrexian goblins.
Yep.
Ooh, okay. That's interesting. It's not It's not instant speed, which would be quite nice.
It's not, and they don't have haste either. But 1 mana Shatter is something worth paying attention to. The fact that it's sorcery is not great, but anyway.
Yeah.
Just interesting. The Red Sun's Twilight seems bad.
Yes. Well, every time we get the red card in a cycle, it's just never good. Like the red Invoke, garbage.
Yeah,
Red Sun's Twilight. What does Red Sun Zenith do? Who knows? It's probably never seen any play. Rook, Hex Gold Nabba. 2 and a red for a 2/2 trample haste Goblin Rebel. Whenever an equipped creature you control other than this one attacks or dies, you may attach all equipment attached to that creature to Rook. 3 mana, 2/2 trample haste that picks up other people's equipment. Maybe, I guess, if there's an equipment deck there.
Yeah.
Yep. Sawblade Scamp. Ooh, okay, that's some sweet art, actually. Single red for 1/1 Phyrexian Beast with haste. That's a bit more like it. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on it. And you can tap it, remove an oil counter, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Okay. If it wasn't a tap ability, I would be all in for this creature in the modern prowess deck. Or something along those lines. But it's a tap ability, so...
Yeah, it's also not the like the O-Force we've played before where you can untap them.
Yeah.
Casting spell sorcery and get multiple things out of it. So you are limited to 1 per turn cycle. So not great.
Nah, not good. Yep. Slow bad. Is that is that a description? It's slow and it's bad?
Whoa, slow bad's an old card.
Okay. Never heard of it.
He used to be Goblin Tinkerer.
Okay.
But now he's not. This could be interesting. Again, more commander, but like sacrifice an artifact, add an amount of red equal to its mana value, spend it only to cast artifact spells or activate abilities of artifacts. Yeah, I don't know.
We've got the Forge, which we talked about before. A single red for a 1/2. That's interesting. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put an oil counter on it. So that same text. 6 and a red, sack it. Discard your hand, then draw 4 cards. This ability costs 1 less to activate for each oil counter on it. Whoa. Okay. That's...
Is it spells in the deck, man? It's happening.
That's...
We actually won't put Delver in it. We'll put the guy that spits out 1/1 artifact tokens.
Okay, so if you've cast 3 non-creature spells, you've got 3 oil counters on it, you're still paying 4 mana to draw 4 cards, but it's instant speed. You got to sack the creature, but it's instant speed. That's... So, in a red deck. Yeah,
but what was the colourless hasty boy that you sacked?
Bomat Courier?
Yeah, Bomat.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that was like a single red mana.
Yeah, single red. Yeah.
But you also had to wait a number of turns for it to be good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is obviously waiting for you to be empty-handed. And then accruing value. And the fact that you don't lose cards, so that was the thing with Bomat, you could quite often get just kind of blown out because it get removed and the cards were exiled underneath it and they were just gone.
Yeah.
Whereas it's just a straight draw. So, and if you can proliferate, again, like if you put it in a blue-red deck, you cast that thing, it gets 2 counters on it. For 2 mana.
I mean, the next card, Vault Charge, 2 and a red instant, deals 3 damage to any target and then proliferate. Don't know, maybe. Probably not.
Trying things.
Yes. All right. We are into...
Oh, no, I don't have rare wild cards. What the heck?
We are into green, and it's just toxic everywhere. Bloated Contaminator. Yeah, this looks real gross. 3 mana, 2 and a green for a 4/4 trample. Yep. In. Toxic 1. Seems very solid with trample. I'll trample over, kill a creature, get in for 1. Oh, to4, hitting us with a raid with 139. Thank you. Welcome, everybody.
Welcome, Raiders.
We are we're making our way through some previews. We've gone through the mechanics tonight after a million technical difficulties because we haven't streamed for a while, and we're getting through some cards now. So we're up to green. So welcome, everybody. Give us a follow while you're here, and feel free to stick around. Whenever Bloated Contaminator deals combat damage to a player, proliferate. Okay, so Cracker, rules question. I'm assuming we get to stack our triggers here.
Correct.
So we can deal our combat. So we deal our combat damage. We get 2 triggers. We get Toxic 1 trigger and the Proliferate trigger. So we can stack it so that they get the poison counter and then we proliferate.
Correct.
I'm assuming that works.
Yep. Sure does.
So that way, if they've already got a poison counter, it's irrelevant. But if they didn't have a poison counter, they get a poison counter, and then you can proliferate it. Okay, this card seems extremely strong.
It really does.
4 toughness, hard to kill. Yeah. I think Matty P is just
in heaven. Yeah,
he's getting a bit bloated. Move on.
We're good to 4 man. We were real busy at the end of the year with all of the finals prep for our tournament series, and then Christmas and all that sort of happened. But we're just we're getting back into it, and we're excited by this set. It seems bananas good. There's just like cards in every color that seem really interesting. So yeah,
this is the voice of Cracker.
Hello, I'm sorry.
We were meant to have his video tonight.
Internet and it's all a disaster. But hey, I'm here.
Yep. Okay.
Hope you had a good stream, man. What were you up to?
Yeah, what were you guys doing tonight? Conduit of Worlds, 2 green for an artifact. You can play lands from your graveyard. This seems like a
Crucible.
Is it Muldrotha?
No, Crucible of the Worlds is.
I know what Crucible is, Cracker. But this is going in a Muldrotha deck. Or something along those lines. Tap, choose target non-land permanent card in your graveyard. If you haven't cast a spell this turn, you may cast that card. If you do, you can't cast additional spells this turn. Ooh, okay.
So it's like a one-time Muldrotha.
Yeah, but it also shuts off the rest of your turn. But it's instant speed, so you can do it in your opponent's turn. And that's non-land permanent card.
Sorcery.
Yeah. And literally the last line of it is activated as a sorcery. Okay, no, move on from that.
I don't know. You don't have to do that. Like playing lands from your graveyard is still strong.
It is, yeah, but not for 4 mana. That's not what we want to be doing. Evolve Spinoderm, 2 green. Again, some sweet art with that. Whatever that. What is that? Is that sketch style? I don't know what that style is called for this set, but very cool. 2 green for a 5/5, so 4 mana 5/5 with 4 oil counters. Has trample as long as it has 2 or fewer oil counters on it. Otherwise, it has hexproof. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove an oil counter from it. Then if it has no oil counters on it, sacrifice it. Ooh. So when you play it, it has hexproof because it's got 4 counters.
Mm-hmm.
Then you remove a counter, so we're down to 3. So you've got another turn of it being hexproof. So 2 turns of hexproof. Then you get
trample.
1 turn with trample. So you remove a counter, you're down to 2 counters. You attack, you got trample. And then the next turn, you're removing the last counter and you're sacrificing it. Ugh.
They replanted Blasted him. They basically did, right? It was just fading on here.
Yeah.
But that's still just strong. Plus, you can just proliferate onto it, right? Like, there's
I think
just many ways to do that.
If it wasn't hexproof, like if it had trample all the time, it was a 4 mana 5/5 with trample.
Then it'd just be too strong.
And then it lost trample. Because you're getting 2 turns of hexproof, whereas I think 2 turns of trample would be better? For a 5/5.
Yeah, I think that's why they did it this way.
No, Cracker, come on. They got the card wrong. They got the card wrong.
Yeah, Wizards. What do you even know?
Expand the sphere. 3 and a green. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. Put up to 2 land cards from among them and onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom of your library random order. If you put fewer than 2 lands onto the battlefield this way, proliferate a number of times equal to the difference. Okay, so you look at 6. You can put 2 land cards on the battlefield tapped for 4 mana. That's reasonable ramp. You go from 4 to 6, and then untapped play land got 7 mana. That's decent. But if you hit no lands, if you completely whiff, you can proliferate twice.
Yes,
I guess in the right deck.
It is also up to, so you can just use it as a 4 mana double proliferate. Like, you don't have to put the lands in, even if you find them.
Yeah, you get that choice.
I don't know whether you do that, but yeah.
Thanks for the follow, however you say that. TDXHA. I don't know, is that a word? Sure. Yeah, it's been a while since 4 mana ramp is sort of really where you want to be at.
Yeah. Goliath Hatchery.
What is that? 6 mana enchantment. That'd want to be good. So you get 2 3/3s with Toxic 1. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, an opponent is corrupted. choose a creature you control, then draw cards equal to its total toxic value. Okay.
So makes 3/3s, and then you draw 1.
If your opponent already has 3 poison counters. If they don't, you get
6
nothing.
mana, hopefully
You'd hope you've put some poison counters on them, yeah. I mean, like, splitting it across 2 bodies is nice, but they're just, like, you're playing 2 3/3s on turn, like, 6. Like, what are they? They're not going to get through and deal combat damage to a player to deal more poison, so... we've got the green Sun's Twilight. Let's scroll down so we can have a look at some more cards while we're talking about this one. So,
Sure. I can read that if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
It is X and a green, reveal top X cards, +1 of your library. Choose a creature card or land from among them, put them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. If X is 5 or more, instead put the chosen cards onto the battlefield or into your hand, and the rest on the bottom in a random order. So,
ooh, okay.
So you can do it for 2. X equal. Actually, you can just do.
You can do it just for green.
0. So
X
green
is 0.
will find you a 1-drop or a land, and then you get to put it in your hand. Or if you have 5 or more, then you can put it onto the battlefield.
Yeah, like if you're playing a predominantly creature green deck, you know, if you've got like 4 instances of sorceries in your deck, then you can do it for 1 and just draw a card. It just cycles itself, I guess. Doing it for 5. So if you do X is 5, so it costs you 6 mana. You look at 6 cards because top X +1. Yep. So look at 6 cards and you can put a creature. You don't want to be putting a land on the battlefield for 6 mana.
No.
But you can put a creature onto the battlefield.
Correct. It doesn't say the mana value of the creature, so it could be like progenitors.
Yeah.
And it also doesn't have to be green, which is the other restriction that these cards usually have.
Yeah. Green Sun's Zenith was looking for a green card of
Correct,
X
but that was like
mana
social
value.
library. Green Sun was obviously... Green
Go
Sun
and get
Zenith. I guess we're going to have to
Dried
we can't even just call it Green Suns anymore.
No.
GS, you have to call it GS.
You can call this one GST.
GST. no one wants to pay it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's good enough. So far, I've been quite unimpressed with the Twilights. None of them really seem strong enough. What do you think of Nissa?
The white one is. I think the white one's strong enough.
Yeah, the white one potentially. Yeah,
the
the board wipe. Yeah, in a control deck. Yep. All right, Nissa. We've got 50 versions of Nissa again. So
of course.
I'm just going to scroll down to the last one so then you can see some other cards.
Yep.
This one was confusing. I remember when we put this one on our Discord in the preview channel, there was quite a bit of like, oh, it comes in as this, and the creatures are this size, and whatever. Ooh, hit the mic. And it took a little bit to wrap our head around it, and then it's also the creature that it's making. So initially people thought it was a star creature that would go up and down in power and toughness, but it's not. So I'll read it out. 3 green, and then it's got 2 green Phyrexian mana symbols. So total mana value of 7, or you can pay it for 6 and 2 life, or you can pay it for 5 and 4 life. So you've got options, and obviously each one of those Phyrexian manas you pay with 2 life, it comes in with 2 less loyalty. So if you pay the full mana cost, it's 7 loyalty. So it could come in as a 5 loyalty or a 3 loyalty. So the +1 is put an XX green Phyrexian horror creature token where X is Nissa's loyalty. So you put the counter on it first and then you make the creature. So if you've paid 7 mana, you're getting an 8/8. It ticks up to 8 loyalty and then you get an 8/8. That's decent. If you paid the 5 mana, you're getting a 4/4 because it's 3 loyalty +1, 4/4. -1, destroy target artifact or enchantment. There's quite a few artifacts and enchantments kicking around. That's not bad.
Sure is.
And then -7, until end of turn, creatures you control get +1/+1 for each forest you control and gain trample. So not basic forests, each forest. So if we're talking shocklands and all those sorts of things, it does count those as well. Yeah, triomes. Yeah, we've still got those in standard. So interesting like if you pay the full 7 mana for it, you can -7 it straight away, and just massive overrun. Like you're going to have at least 4 forests. Like it's unlikely that you can have less than 4 forests. So
you just put this in a mono green deck.
Yeah, +4/+4 and trample for all your creatures. Seems good. You play it on turn 5 and you get a 4/4. That's a solid blocker to protect Nissa, and then you just keep plussing it every turn. So you make a 4/4, the next turn you make a 5/5, the next turn you make a 6/6, next turn you make a 7/7, and then you -7 it and just hit them for a million. So I don't know. Like as you were saying before, like who plays green at the moment? Like
people
green
do now because green has got pushed.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if this is going to see play or not. It seems strong, but
it's not like they're double your mana and this are good, but like this as a finisher, like you think about this, it's basically your Craterhoof.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you have like, I know we don't get like elf ramp creatures anymore, but that's what you want this in. Like this and the curve topper of an elf ball deck would be not insane, because obviously you want a lot of forests, so you want to ramp hard. But if you get +4/+4 on trample on the turn you've cast it, because you've tapped 3 dudes and you've got 3 others out there or 4 others out there, like that just ends the game. Like it seems really strong.
Yeah, like if you've got 3 or 4 1/1s and they just all get they just get big real quick.
Yeah, correct. I mean that's what Hoof did, right? Like it just
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the difference with Hoof is it was a creature that you could search up in certain ways, and you could cheat into play and different things like that. But, same with like the big pig that we had in standard and that sort of thing.
In greys and all. Yeah. But, I mean, even if you look at this as like was it Garrett Wildspeak or whatever, we just went like make a 3/3, make a 3/3, then you +2/+2 and trample your dudes. Whatever it was. Like, there is a big difference between +2/+2 and potentially, +7/+7. Like it's you don't need many creatures, and they don't need to be very big for that just to be lethal. Yep.
So I think Nissa will be seeing play, but who knows? Like we might just be seeing black dominated standard again for a while.
That's true. That's true. And we just talked about the fact that we've got like nice Nissa edict it.
Yeah.
Get out of here. But yeah, definitely really good potential. So we've got Thrun. We've got another Thrun. Surely.
We've got another thumbnail.
Yeah, but we do.
Maybe they took like a thumbnail. Maybe they took that literally.
Oh my goodness! Just put it on the table. Right, because you're opening packs. Like, what are you doing? Opening them on a bridge? I don't know. Anyway,
you've got to hold them up because you've got nothing. There's nothing for you to sit them on. You need to hold them up.
Impossible.
Yes.
Maximize the glare, but we can see that Thrun still can't be counted.
What I feel like is that they've like held it up away from their body and then like taken a photo. And the photo is actually of like all their surroundings and their hand and their arm, and then they've cropped it down
100%
to the card, and that's why the quality is so garbage. That's got to be like that's the only explanation.
I love the fact that it actually looks like the border is like superimposed. It is, because look at where the border goes over the top of their thumbnail. What is going on? This makes no sense. It hurts my brain. Anyway, Thrun.
Yep.
3 green for a 5/5, can't be counted. Trample, cover the target of non-green spells your opponents control or ability from non-green sources your opponents control. As long as it's your turn, Thrun has an indestructible.
Okay. 5 mana, 5/5, trample. Yep. Still probably not good enough.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yep.
What about Tyranax Rex?
Tyranax Rex.
Tyranax Rex.
Speaking of big green creatures, 3 green.
Looks like Predator, the third one in.
Yeah.
Alien, just straight up.
Yep. 7 mana for an 8/8 trample, can't be counted. Toxic 4, Ward 4, and Haste. Now this is wowzers.
Is this just better than Carnage Tara? Because you're just dead in 3 turns?
Probably, yeah. Yeah, like Toxic 4 is... All it has to do is trample over for 1 damage and you're getting 4 poison counters. Ward 4 is a lot. Like we've seen Ward on quite a few creatures, and even like most like Ward 1 and Ward 2, it slows you down a bit, but it's fine. Ward 3 is where it's like, oh yeah, okay, that's a lot. But Ward 4 is wow.
Yep.
Yeah. This is
a counted trample haste. What?
At the minimum, this is a sideboard card against control decks for your big green stuff. So.
This is the finisher.
Unnatural Restoration, returning permanents from our graveyard to a hand and proliferating. Interesting.
Tyvar Stand.
Oh yeah, I missed that one.
Pointing out. Yep. So green X instant target creature you control gets XX and gains hexproof indestructible until end of turn. You can just use this as green mana in indestructible hexproof.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So it's a
doesn't have to be a pump spell. It can just be a straight protection spell
if you want it to. Seems like an upgrade to the various versions of those that we've seen. Is it like Snakeskin Veil and those sorts of cards?
All that kind of stuff.
Yep. We've spoken about the Venerated Rot Priest before. That card is very good.
Target it with Tyvar Stand. Give it hexproof and indestructible. Give them a poison counter. Make them feel sad for trying to kill it.
Viral Spawning. Is this a new spider spawning? 2 and a green. Create a 3/3 Phyrexian Beast with Toxic 1. Mm-hmm. That's not bad. It's 3 mana for 3/3. And then it's got Corrupted. So if your opponent's got 3 or more poison counters, it has Flashback for 2 and a green.
So I saw Maro talk about this. Is
it Call of the Herd?
Yeah, that sounds right. But about Flashback, is now deciduous. So it doesn't mean it's not evergreen. It's not going to come back all the time, but it's now like going to be more frequent, which is cool because Flashback is a sweet mechanic.
Yeah, Call of the Herd was 3 mana, create a 3/3 green elephant creature token, and then it had Flashback for 3 and a green, so Flashback was 4.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, really strong and limited, won't see play in standard.
No, probably not.
The 3 mana 3/3 is not good enough.
Yep. All right, we're into the multis. We better wrap this up pretty soon. Do we think Kaido's good enough? There's a Venser Cracker.
There is.
Wow.
Sort of. He's a corpse puppet. He's a Phyrexian zombie wizard.
Yep.
Poor old Venser.
And they cost 2 mana though. Blue and a black for 1/3, lifelink, toxic 1. Whenever you proliferate, choose 1. If you don't control a creature named the Hollow Sentinel, create the Hollow Sentinel, a legendary 3/3 golem. Okay. Target artifact creature you control gains flying and lifelink till end of turn. Interesting. So I guess you're playing it in a proliferate deck, you're going up on the toxic, on the poison counters on your opponent. The first time you proliferate, you make the 3/3, and then every time you proliferate after that, you're giving that 3/3.
You jump it.
It's not a... Oh, it is. Phyrexian Golem artifact. Yeah, you're giving it flying and lifelink. Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Kaido's interesting. He's probably not good enough, but he's interesting.
Yeah, I just don't think it's any better than the current Kaido that we have.
Yeah, but he costs 4 instead of 3.
Yeah, that makes him so much better.
Yep.
Things that cost more are always better.
Yep, that's how that works.
Luca, I don't think's good enough. Again, another completed Planeswalker that's not good enough. There's a Melira as well.
There is. Did you see the Migloz, the Maze Crusher?
Migloz. Yep, the thumbnail one. Yep.
Yep. So 1 green, red for a 4/4. ETB with 5 oil counters. 1, remove an oil counter. It gains vigilance and menace until end of turn. 2, remove 2 oil counters. It's get +2/+2. 3, remove 3. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. I mean, it's still just a 3 mana 4/4.
Yeah.
With upside. Vigilance and menace is pretty good.
Yeah, their combination is quite nice.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, only having to remove one counter for that. That's pretty solid.
Yeah. I like the fact that you pay additional mana and additional oil counters each time.
Yeah,
That's
yep.
Seems strong.
Yep.
Malira.
Yeah, what's Malira doing? Green, white for a 3/3. If you would get one or more poison counters, instead you get one poison counter, and you can't get additional poison counters this turn. Okay, so you can only get one poison counter a turn.
Mm-hmm.
Exile Malira. Choose another target creature or artifact. When it's put into a graveyard this turn, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Okay. Interesting. I mean, it's a watch wolf. 2 mana 3/3 for a green and a white. Maybe sideboard card. I don't know. I mean, there's combo shenanigans you can do with the second part of it with like things in modern, like your elementals and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep.
Having that in play and then evoking a Solitude and then exiling Malira.
Worth it.
Probably not good enough, but...
No. Kaya's not strong enough. We spoke about Avika already.
We did. Yeah, I like that one.
We got this Rhea Evor Bane of Bladehold has Battle Cry.
It does. Battle Cry's back in the set.
Okay, they didn't want to mention that in the mechanics thing.
No, it's fine. No, don't worry about it. It's easy enough to understand.
Yep.
At the beginning of your next turn, and the next time a target creature would deal combat damage to an output. Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. So you can choose to have it not deal damage, and then it just spews out a bunch of tokens instead.
Yep.
Kalissa is back. First Strike Death Touch is a hell of a combination.
Yeah.
Returns grant damage to a player. Choose one. Draw a card and lose a life. Destroy a target enchantment. Remove 3 counters from target permanent. Oh, hello. That's how you get rid of poison counters from yourself.
No, that's target permanent, Cracker.
Yep.
You're not a permanent.
Oh, I'm pretty permanent.
That's what you think.
Yeah, true.
But according to the rules, you are not a permanent. Yep, Hemsy's validated me in the chat.
I mean, believing Hemsy is a risky proposition, but okay.
It is true, yep. Tyvar is interesting for like combo potential, maybe like elves, modern, something like that. One
everything haste.
Black, green, 3/3 planeswalker. You may activate abilities of creatures you control as though those creatures had haste. So it doesn't give creatures haste, it just means you can activate their abilities. So like a mana dork, something like that, you can tap them straight away, which is pretty cool. And then its +1 is untap up to one target creature. -2, mill 3 cards. Then you may return a creature card with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So yeah, you can do things like, you know, play a mana dork, tap it for mana, untap it, tap it for mana again. Like you can ramp with it, or you can, like with the elves in Modern and Legacy, the ones that tap and add mana for the number of elves that you've got, they're going to get pretty bonkers when you can play them with effectively haste and then get 2 activations out of them. So yeah, interesting. And only 3 mana, so yeah, probably not too bad.
Yeah, but it also means you can like devote a druid, right? You mill it, and then it doesn't say from the 3 that you milled. So if you milled or it dies earlier, you can like rebuy it and instantly activate it, which is pretty strong.
Yeah, so you can activate it the 3 times you can activate it? Like you get 3 mana, or is it 2 mana you get out of it before it dies?
Which one?
I can't remember.
Devoted
Druid.
I mean, you can't do both because it's a minus, so you can't untap as well as rebuy.
No, but you could minus Tyvar and get it back and then use it again.
Oh, sure. You're saying, yeah. I always think
like you kill it.
Battlefield. Like you just mill. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because Devoted Druid is tap, add a green, put a -1/-1 counter on it, and untap it. So you can tap it for a green, untap it, tap it for a green. The second time you untap it, it dies.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so you can only get 2 out of it. Then you can -2 Tyvar, bring it back. So you could get 4 mana out of a Devoted Druid in one turn with Tyvar.
Or you just, bring it back and go off with your combo.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I like the art on that regular version of Tyvar.
Okay,
'Cause-
I don't.
Don't you? No. The part I like about it is that he's beaten up a Volshock.
Oh, okay, right.
Like it's like, oh, that's cool, because I don't think we've seen any Volshock stuff, but like that, it looks like Volshock battle gear or
Yeah,
whatever.
okay, yeah. And the alt art where it's just like fist bump.
Yeah, they just all look weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually don't like the way that.
All right, we've got a Equipment Matters card here. Blade Hold War Whip, 1 red, white. For an artifact equipment, it's got the 4 Mirrodin, so when it comes in, it'll make a 2/2 and then it gets attached to it. Equip abilities you activate of other equipment cost 1 less to activate. No thanks. Equipped creature has double strike, and the equip cost is 3 red, white. Yeah, pass. Move on.
Yeah, it's gross. It's so bad.
I just don't see equipment being good enough. Nahiri does stuff with equipment. No thanks. How does Nahiri do stuff with equipment when she's got no arms?
She's swords,
She's
mate.
already equipped.
She is swords. I don't know.
Another Azuri.
Mm-hmm.
2 green, blue, 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, you may pay 3 if you do proliferate twice. Whenever you proliferate, draw a card. So you can pay 7 mana for a 3/3, proliferate twice, and draw 2 cards.
Yeah,
That's a lot of mana.
it's a huge amount of mana.
New Atraxa, Cracker.
Oh my goodness.
Go on, read
Yeah.
it. It's a lot of
All
text on it.
3 green, white, blue, black for a 7/7. Flying, Vigilance, Death Touch, Lifelink. So same keywords as the original Atraxa. Whenever Atraxa Grand Unifier enters the battlefield, reveal the top 10 cards of your library. For each card type, you may put a card of that type from among the revealed cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So it's kind of like Niv Mizzet, where you got to do the thing where you looked at different colours.
Not getting multicolour pairs.
No, correct. This is about card types.
Yeah. So you're likely to get probably 3. Like
2 or 3.
A creature, a land, and
10
a...
cards is a lot.
It is, yeah, it is. It is definitely a lot.
And you can choose a creature that is like a creature, artifact creature as an artifact, and then you can have a creature as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. The interesting thing here is it says there...
Battle.
Artifact Battle. Creature, enchantment, instant, land, planeswalker, and sorcery are card types. Now, it doesn't say tribal, which is also a card type. So correct. I don't know why it doesn't say that.
Because
no, they don't. Well, I mean, it does come up, but why wouldn't... Like, there's still room there on the card that they could have just had a comma and tribal.
Yeah,
so it's not like they ran out of room. But what on earth is battle?
It's a card that doesn't exist yet.
Well, it wasn't in the mechanics, so...
Spoilers.
I assume it's coming in the March of the Machine set. That's the next set that's coming out, so we will have to see. What are all these foreign language bombs? I'm assuming they're all...
Not very good.
Mostly the same. Let's have a look at the first one.
So the big difference with these ones is you always get to draw the card.
So 1 mana to play, 1 mana, sack it, draw a card, and then it has a different ability. So the first one is 2 and a white. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains flying till end of turn, and you get to draw a card. And it's only sorcery speed. So we've got +2/+2 and flying for the white one. Return target creature to its owner's hand for the blue one. Black one is return target creature card from your graveyard. Red one is put 2 oil counters on target artifact or creature. And green one is target creature gets +3/+3 and gains trample till end of turn. Okay. So a bit like the
off the activated abilities. Like the old spell bombs.
Yeah. Or the what were they called? The ones in the energy set? The puzzle knots. There was different colour puzzle knots.
Yeah. I forgot about those.
Yep. All right.
So
artifacts?
Yeah, there's a few. Juggernaut. No.
Yep, Graz, Unstoppable Juggernaut, 8 mana, 7/5 Juggernaut. Juggernauts you control attack each combat if able. Juggernauts you control can't be blocked by walls. That's a line of text we haven't seen for many a year.
Yep.
Other creatures you control have base power and toughness 5/3 and are juggernauts in addition to their other creature types. Okay, so it turns all of your other creatures into 5/3 juggernauts that have to attack each turn and can't be blocked by walls. Oh, DeBroom's heard a mention of energy. He's popped up in the chat.
Wait, energy? That's hilarious.
Mirren Safe House, 3 mana. As long as Mirren Safe House is on the battlefield, it has all activated abilities of all land cards in all graveyards. So that means it taps for mana. That's an activated ability.
It is.
As well as any other things.
Yeah. So people went super deep on the tinfoil hat. This one, hang on, stop. Just wait 1 second, Julie. On the art there.
Okay.
People looking at it, and you see that big, like,
It
thing
looks like
right in the
Emrakul?
middle? Yeah, except it's not. It's the seat of the synod.
Right.
So if you look, the one below it to the right is the Great Furnace. And then there's like Vault of Whispers to the right of that, and then Tree of Tales. So it's actually all the artifact lands hiding in there. Get out of here. It's not Eldrazi.
Yeah.
Everyone went too far.
Yep.
Because we don't need
Seat of
those
the
back.
Synod. Let me look at the art for Seat.
It looks like a big blue artifact mushroom thing, I think.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, very much so. Yep. Okay, that's definitely what it is.
Yeah.
Cool.
Which is cool. Sword of Forge. I don't know if there's any others you want to talk about this, but Sword of Forge and Frontier.
Yep. Go for it.
3 mana sword gets 2/2 and pro red and green. Whenever a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. You may play an additional land this turn. Equip 2. First of all,
Not good enough.
that sword looks horrible
Yes.
and useless. Sort of clumsiness. Like, what the heck? Who's swinging that thing around? You can't.
It's
an
an extremely short sword. You got to be like, it's basically a dagger, but it's super wide.
Yep.
For no reason.
And then the point is like just terrible. I don't know. Look, it's a ramp spell, and the fact that you get to, I don't know. It has, but maybe not in standard, but in Commander, I can certainly see it. Like, Pro Red and Green may come up. I don't know. It's interesting.
No, pretty good. All right, and then we've got lands.
There's some good lands, actually.
Cool looking lands. Yep. There's a bunch of different lands, and then we have what's this card, Cracker? Top right.
There's a Black Cleave Cliffs.
There we go.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Now, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, we spoke about it on the podcast this week that their inclusion in Pioneer is pretty huge, but
yes,
it's going to be interesting to see if they actually make aggressive decks better in Standard. Obviously, we've been going through a time of just mid-range black decks. So, can these color pairs, like having the red-green one, can we see a good aggressive red-green beatdown deck? We've seen some good green creatures, a couple of red-green creatures, that sort of thing. Can we, having access to better mana, bring that to the forefront and actually take on all the mid-range decks? I don't know. We'll have to see.
It can only help, right? Like,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, like the blue-white one, you don't... I mean, we do have... I was going to say, you don't really play it in blue-white decks, but we do have the blue-white soldiers deck at the moment, so that is definitely a plus for them. You wouldn't play them in like a traditional blue-white control deck, but in the soldiers deck, you're definitely going to be wanting to play those. Blue-black, similar to blue-white.
In standard, you might, because like you've got limits on like just dual lands in general.
Yeah.
So really good for your first 3 turns, and then you just maybe have to accept the fact you got a tap land.
Yep. All right, and then we've got some other non-basics.
Yeah, so Mycosynth's Gardens is worth looking at.
Yep.
So that is colorless. So it's a filter land as well. So you pay 1, tap it, and add 1 mana of any color. So it's fixing for an extra mana. But then X tap Microsynth Garden becomes a copy of a target non-token artifact you control with mana value X. I don't know what we're doing with it yet, but that's worth paying attention to.
What sort of artifacts do you want multiple copies of? And it's mana value X, so it's...
Yeah, you got to pay the cost again. So it's the cost of whatever it was plus 1.
Yeah.
You obviously don't get the enters the battlefield triggers because, you know, it is still Seraph.
And it's not till end of turn either.
Sure.
It just becomes a copy of it, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that is interesting.
And yeah, I mean, like Hemsey says, like you can just make artifact creatures are fine. Like it's non-token. So it doesn't even have to be like... Again, things to pay
I guess it's just turning your land into a creature. Or, well, yeah, it's turning your land into a spell of some sort.
Correct. It's a MDFC, right?
Yeah.
Having the other side of it.
Yeah, again, useful early game as just a land, and then late game it's like, oh, I no longer need this land, so I'm just going to sink a bunch of mana into it. It's not sorcery speed only either, so yeah, you could turn it in. So Steel Seraph, if you've played it in the small version and you copy it, you're just getting the small version, and it's only mana value 3.
3.
Yeah, because they're like permanently that thing, so you can't cheat.
Yes.
You can't cheat and get the bigger version of something.
You also have to tap it, so you can't like block.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
But you know, you do it in the end step and then untap with it and go from there. Plus, it's still a land. It doesn't say it loses this type, so you can still like
that's true. You can still tap it for mana.
Tap it for mana. So
you can copy a different creature as well because it would retain the same abilities.
Correct. It's like Thespian Stage sort of thing.
Does
it? You can just keep retargeting.
I don't know. I'd have to see some Oracle text on that. Maybe we might be wrong there, Cracker.
You don't think you can?
Because it just says it becomes a copy of target non-token artifact. It doesn't say anything about with these abilities. So it would.
Oh, that's a good point.
I don't even know if it would. It might not even stay as a land. It might actually just completely become whatever the artifact is. So it's just a one-shot thing. Yeah. We'll have to see. All right, the other lands we've got there. Yeah. Mirex, so another thumbnail one. Land Sphere. Taps for colorless. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Activate only if Mirex entered the battlefield this turn. So that's interesting. So early on you can play it and it fixes some mana. And then it's got 3 tap, create one of the 1/1 mites with Toxic 1. So that's actually pretty solid.
Yeah, it is.
Like just pumping out 1/1s.
Yep.
For 4 mana effectively. That's quite good. And then the other land, the Monumental Facade. What does that look like? Looks like someone's face.
It looks like Elish Norn's hat, sort of.
Yeah. Is it a hat? Is it actually a hat or
face? No,
whatever it is. Monumental Facade enters the battlefield with 2 oil counters on it. Tap for a colorless. You can remove an oil counter to put an oil counter on an artifact or a creature you control. So there we go. There's a way to put some more counters on our 6/6 demon or whatever it was that loses us the game. Not too bad.
Activate only as a sorcery though. Downside.
Yes, it is. Yep.
And then the Seed Core. If you're making just like stacks of the Phyrexian mites, I think you just slam a bunch of these things in there.
Yeah. I wonder if we're at the point. I'm tipping probably after the next set comes out, because the next set is March of the Machines, which is I'm tipping is going to be a ton more colorless artifacty stuff. I reckon we're going to get to a point where we can actually play a colorless deck again, and I wonder if we will go back to having wastes. I reckon we'll get wastes in some set in the near future.
Interesting.
But yeah, I reckon there's going to be enough utility in the lands and the colorless creatures and things like that. That bold prediction.
I like it.
You might be able to play a colorless.
I like bold
deck
predictions.
at some point. All right, well that is all the previews we have for now. We got there, Cracker.
Skipped a bunch. We did.
Oh, we did skip a bunch, and there's obviously still more to come. I don't know how many we've had actually
Let's have a look.
previewed because
It's hard because it tells you that there's like 400 cards previewed, but
let's go to Goldfish one and have a look on there. I think that one actually lists how many we've got. 145 cards have been previewed.
okay. And the set is 271.
Yes, that's including lands and stuff. So yeah, so we're a bit over halfway.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool. I'm excited, man. Like this legit looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, set looks really cool. It's
Yeah.
interesting. It's getting me interested to play Standard again because, yeah, Standard has been a bit of a mess. I mean, it's weird. It's like Standard's it's got a bunch of decks, but it just is not enjoyable to play for some reason. Like, there is the diversity in the decks, but no enjoyment there. So, yeah, it'd be good to see things shaken up a little bit and, yeah, see what this set does. But, yeah, it just seems really cool, not just for Standard as well. There's a bunch of good cards for other sets. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's going to do it. We got there.
We did.
In a weird fashion, very late compared to when we were meant to, and no camera for you. So,
Oh, I'm sorry.
have you eaten through your snack plate? I've only got two little gummies left. That's it.
No, I've still got a bunch of chocolate left. I was too busy talking. That's all right.
All right. Yeah, so no podcast this week. We're back to fortnightly podcasts. And yes, there'll be a podcast next week. I should be back on Monday next week to stream again. So maybe we'll do more previews or we might actually play some Magic. We'll see how we go.
Yep.
Might actually, I'm interested to play some paper, take on some paper challenges, maybe like some Modern or some Pioneer or something like that over the stream via
Over
webcams or
thing.
something like that. So we might have to tee something like that up. We'll see how we go. Stay tuned for that. And yeah, we do have our first league that'll be kicking off in a few weeks. There is no thing to enter into yet, to register on just yet, because we're still working out how to get that actually working for the way that we want it to work.
Presented some new challenges for us.
Yeah, we thought, hey, we'll just do this because this will be way easier. And turns out that the way that we want to do it is actually most tournament sites don't support that. So we'll get that up as soon as we can, and we'll post it on our Discord and all that sort of stuff. Thanks to DeFore for the raid and all the people that have hung out. There's still quite a lot of you there, so good to see you.
All.
Yep. Give us a follow so you know when we go live. But yeah, I'm live most Monday evenings. Been a bit of a break through Christmas and that sort of stuff. But yeah, should be back most Monday evenings. So give us a follow and come and join us. Who do we shout out at the end, Cracker? I'm going to put up the logo.
JP, MTG Bazaar.
There we go.
As always. Love those guys. Go and check out Josh and Pat's. They are, as we said before, Facebook auction page. And yeah, just go pick up all your sweet singles, any cards that you've seen in here. Pat will have them up and listed as soon as he can get his hot little hands on them, which is always earlier than we can. So yeah, go check them out and pick up some cards. Ooh, Rod, I am jealous. Paper Cube Vintage is like our favourite thing to do. I honestly think that's like my favourite way to play Magic.
To play Paper Vintage Cube. Oh, yes. We are lucky enough to have one of the beans who has a very, very good Vintage Cube and a very expensive Vintage Cube. So we do get to play it every now and then, but not as often as we would like. So
yeah. I hope you open Power, mate.
Yeah. Yep.
Open a Lotus. That's fun. I've done that before. That's real good.
Yep. All right. I've found someone to raid, so we'll go and raid someone, and yeah, we'll be out. So thanks, Cracker, and yeah, we'll see everyone next week.
Bye.
Bye.